Sometimes a movie has a really interesting premise, but for some reason, not a lot of people are talking about it. And then other times, you go and watch that movie and you realize, oh, that's why nobody was talking about it. What's up, my dude? Your friendly neighborhood Tony here, and I just got back home from watching the latest Adam Driver movie, 65. And, oh boy. I'm a little disappointed. So for those that are unfamiliar, I'll hit you with a quick plot summary here off of Rotten Tomatoes. It says here, after a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet, pilot Mills, played by Adam Driver, quickly discovers he's actually stranded on Earth 65 million years ago. Now, with only one chance at rescue, Mills and the only other survivor, Koa, played by Ariana Greenblatt, must make their way across an unknown terrain riddled with dangerous prehistoric creatures in an epic fight to survive. So yeah, in short, Adam Driver is a pilot. He is flying across the galaxy and crash lands on a planet that ends up being Earth, except 65 million years ago, filled with dinosaurs. And that concept, to me, was awesome. Future space Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs with a laser gun. Like, what else do you want? And after watching it, yeah, I think there's a couple things I still want. Also, after looking up the movie and getting a little bit of information about it before going to see it in theaters, I noticed that it is both written and directed by Scott Beck and Bryan Woods, whose names you might not be familiar with, but they wrote another movie called A Quiet Place, which was amazing. And after watching this movie, I can definitely see a couple similarities between this and A Quiet Place, but it is not quite on the same level as far as quality is concerned. So as we do with all my reviews, I'm going to give you some of the pros, some of the things I did like about this movie, followed by my cons, of which there are going to be a few. And then finally, I'll just let you know whether or not I think you should spend your time and money to go watch this in theaters. If that kind of thing sounds good to you and you want to see more movie reviews, ranking videos, trailer reactions, all that good stuff, make sure you subscribe. So as I mentioned, as far as the pros are concerned, the concept of the story itself was really interesting to me. You know, it raises a lot of questions about what's going on with Adam Driver's character. Where does he come from? Is he from the future and is going back in time as a human? Is he from some other alien civilization? Does he end up being the first human on Earth, or maybe kind of an Adam and Eve type situation? There's a lot of questions, and that concept and those questions are what got me really interested in this movie. And I think it really had a lot of people interested, to be fair, because when I went to go see this, despite the fact that there wasn't a lot of chatter about this online, the theater was packed, which I was very surprised to see. And throughout the movie, you do get to know a little bit about Adam Driver's character. I don't know, though, if I would consider all of that to be part of the pros, because I really felt like there was a lot left out that we didn't explore that I wish we would have. Instead, the movie just becomes an hour and a half of running from dinosaurs and trying to get from point A to point B. And in moments, it's good. There are some legitimately really good jump scares, some good action sequences throughout the movie that I did enjoy. And of course, Adam Driver is a fantastic actor, so in some of the more emotional moments, he does a really good job. And also the young lady that plays the little girl in the movie, I forget her name again, but she's pretty good too, except they kind of sabotage both of them with the way that the movie is written. And I'll get into that in the cons. In fact, I think we'll get into the cons right now, because I'm trying to think of more pros for this movie, but I don't know. I got nothing. So as far as the cons are concerned, as I mentioned, there are some decent jump scares throughout the movie. However, the movie relies on the exact same drama points and jump scares and the exact same plot points over and over again. So, for example, you'll have a specific dinosaur appears and they have to fight it back and run away. And then the story continues. And then another very similar dinosaur appears and they have to fight it back and run away. And then the story continues. And another dinosaur very similar appears again and they have to fight it back and run away and continue. And so it's dramatic and exciting the first couple times it happens, but then after a while, you're just like, is this all the movie is? And another thing I'll mention, which I don't think it's a spoiler, but if it is, it's the most mundane and minor spoiler. Adam Driver's character and the little girl don't speak the same language. They're from different countries. They speak different languages. And to me, that's an interesting concept, but the way it played out in the movie was not done well. And it kind of made me think of, honestly, this is what I would do if somebody gave me a concept for a script and said, hey, go ahead and make a movie about this. I don't know about you, but I was a lazy student. So a good way to get around it is, hey, the two characters don't speak the same language, so I don't have to write much dialogue. And it feels like that's kind of what they did with this movie. Also, a lot of the things that occur in the movie, a lot of the successes and failures of the main characters seem so convenient. To kind of explain that a little better, there are a number of moments where the characters need something specific to accomplish their goal or to continue to get from point A to point B. And it just so happens that they have exactly what they need at all times. And I feel like it wasn't set up well enough to explain why they have specifically and exactly what they need at all times. Again, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but it kind of took me out of the realism of the movie. And I know, of course, like realism, it's about a guy from space fighting dinosaurs. How real can it be? But it just kind of took me out of it a little bit. Also, the entire movie, the dinosaurs, to me, didn't make sense logically either. They are vindictive, it seems. There are moments in the movie where the dinosaurs should be doing other things, perhaps, but instead they are just solely focused on killing Adam Driver and this little girl. And to me, it just didn't make sense. It makes sense if you stumble upon a predatory dinosaur and they're like, oh, free lunch, and they want to go for you. But if there's something that they should be doing elsewhere, and they're all just like, yo, let's roll up and kick this guy's ass, it just doesn't make sense to me. So again, it just felt like plot points to move the story along. It felt like they had an interesting concept, and we're just like, I don't know, we can bust out a script in a weekend, I guess. Then, of course, the ending of the movie was honestly laughable. There's a moment at the end with the most obvious CG green screen I think I've ever seen. So much so that my girlfriend and I both turned to each other in that moment and laughed. It was just so clear. It felt like early CG technology where you just put someone in front of maybe not even a green screen, like a projection. It was bad. It was real bad. Also, the way it ends and the way it all wraps up, again, is just super convenient, and everything happens exactly how it needs to happen with no real hiccups along the way. And yeah, all in all, I am pretty let down by this movie. I think they had such a fascinating way of exploring what was going on here. It kind of felt like a Planet of the Apes, maybe even like a 2001 Space Odyssey. Where does mankind come from? They could have explored that whole thing. And even if they didn't want to get that deep with it, just for what it is, a 90-minute action movie with dinosaurs, it fails pretty bad. I was thinking if I would recommend you watching this movie like when it comes to Netflix or something like that. And to be honest, I don't know if I can. I just don't think there's enough to keep you hooked, even for the hour and a half. Honestly, this is a movie that probably would have been better served if it was longer. And not just longer with like, we need more time of them running from dinosaurs, because we saw enough of that in this movie. We needed more character development, more setup for the characters. You know, I feel like I've said this probably a million times, but when it comes to being compelled by a movie, it doesn't really matter all that much what the characters are doing, but rather that you know the characters and you feel like they are real people and you become connected to them. You know, there are movies of people that take place entirely in a room and they don't do anything interesting or exciting. It's just them in a room or in a convenience store like Clerks. And those movies are great because you care about the characters, because you set up the characters, you let us know what their struggles are, and not just let us know, but let us feel what their struggles are, right? You can tell us like, oh, this person's dealing with this. And it's like, okay, so like I need more than that. And I feel like had they tacked on maybe another 15 minutes to this movie and set up the characters, or specifically Adam Driver's character, more, like get us more invested in him, then we're going to care a lot more when he's being chased by a bunch of dinosaurs. But instead, it's just kind of a whatever action movie with no real interesting stakes, and you kind of already know how it's going to end from the jump. But yeah, these are just my thoughts on the movie 65. If you have seen it yourself, definitely let me know what you think about it. I really hope you enjoyed it more than I did, to be honest. Also, before we get out of here real quick, if you want to help me and the channel here, the best way to do that right now is through my Amazon affiliate link in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but if you just plan on buying something on Amazon today, if you go through that link, it helps me out. Otherwise, of course, if you want to see more movie reviews just like this, trailer reactions, ranking videos, all that good stuff, make sure you subscribe. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. Be good.